Hi guys, welcome to my channel and today we will talk about project. We will discuss about what is the project all about. We will discuss the key pointers, how to access, what are the key things which you need to keep in your mind, and maybe we can just see the couple of sample projects at the end of this video because I just got a lot of requests from the students as they are pretty much confused from the project part, like what needs to be written, what would be the topic, the maybe NMIMS will assist in those regards. What will be the word count with page numbers? What are the total page count? Or there are a number of things. So I just thought of preparing this video so that that would really be helpful for you. Um, Before starting this project, I would recommend to just start working on the project as early as possible. Maybe when your third sem ends up, or maybe when you just start with your fourth semester, just before the assignments, because in assignments we need to wait for the NMIMS to just upload the questions, and based on the questions only you can just submit your assignment. But project is completely independent. You can choose any topic, anything of your choice. So just start working on the project as soon as possible so that you will get the enough bandwidth to just prepare for the other subjects assignments as well as for the for study for the other exams, right? If I talk about the project, this is more relatable to your graduation. You can say the major project or the minor project, because I think almost all of you have done your graduation. Some are from the BTech background. So normally you have seen that in the final semester you are having one major project. In major project, you just need to choose one topic of your choice, and you just submit a case study, or you can say a dissertation. So the project in NMIMS is similar to that stuff, where you are open to choose any topic, anything of your choice, based on your knowledge, based on your understanding. Just one important thing, it should be relatable to your specialization only, right? If you are from finance, choose something which relates to your finance, or maybe something to stock market, maybe something related to bank, but it should not be like you are choosing some topic of HR, right? Similarly, if you are from a supply chain, you just choose something which relates to a supply chain, or maybe something related to a trade. But yes, if you are choosing any topic, maybe any automation or any something which is AI related, then there is some part of IT that's totally acceptable. But the key crux, or maybe you can say the key theme of the project, should be of your specialization only, right? Now let's see what the project is all about. We cover few of the QE pointers, right? So the very important thing is project covers 100 marks, equivalent to the complete one subject in the semester 4. Because just couple of days before, many of my students asked me, sir, in semester 4, why we are getting only 5 subjects? We are getting assignments, we are getting subjects only for the 5 subjects, where is the 6 subject gone? So guys, one subject is all about the project. If I talk about first sem, second sem, third sem, we are having six subjects. In the fourth semester, we are having the 5 subjects, and one is all about the project, right? So it covers 100 marks. 100 marks is, it's a very big you can say proportion. If I talk about the other subjects, so it's almost 1/6 of the complete semester marks, right? So you need to think it properly, and to choose a project wisely, and just try to gain maximum marks out of 100. Second, a student can choose the topic on your own. If you think that NMIMS will help you, or they will assign something that, okay, for student A, the topic will be this, for student B, the topic will be this. So it should not like be that. You need to choose the topic on your own. Now comes the word count. There is no minimum and maximum word count, because it is a very vast thing. In assignments, you can easily say, "Okay, sir, I have completed 1,000 words or 1,500 words." That's totally fine. But in assignment, in project, we need to cover 50, 60, 70, 80 pages. So word count is not possible in this case. So that's why NMMS never say that the word count should be 10,000 words, or it should be of 1 lakh words. No, right? If we talk about the page count, so yes, there is a page count. With normally no, NMIMS says around 50 to 100 words. Why I have mentioned 60 to 120 pages? Because if you just start working, or maybe when I just showcase you the sample, you will find that couple of 3 or 4 pages are simply just you are just giving the logo of the NMIMS, you are just mentioning that it is a case study and nothing is being covered. So I just take a buffer, and normally if you write 60 pages, then it will be considered as around 55 pages as per NMIMS, right? So I would recommend to just prepare a project of almost 65 to 80 pages, 65 to 85 pages. That's totally fine. Many students say, sir, can we exceed 120 pages? So dear, when you just actually start working on the project, you will come to know that it's almost like a rocket science to cover at least 85 to 90 pages, right? So if you are coming to 70 to 80 pages, then that's totally fine. That's a perfect count, right? Yes, from a minimum side, yes, it should be at least more than 60 pages, right? If you are just covering up to 40 45 pages, then the chances of scoring low marks is very high, right? So the more you write, the more you gain more marks. But the more means it should not be endless. It should have some ending point. That's why we just give a limit of 100 140 pages, right? But considering the couple of facts, like the font type should be Times Roman and Arial. It's quite similar to the one which we discussed for the assignments, right? And the font size is 12 and 14 is for headings. Normally we use 12 and 14, and based on that you can cover 50, 60 65 pages. But yes, if you think that okay, if you want to cover 60 70 pages, you just start writing the font size of 100 or maybe 72. Then you need to write, I think, 1000 plus pages, right? So just make sure that writing the correct font size. And if we talk about the what would be the type of writing, then it will be similar to the assignments, where you need to write everything in a Word document and it will be uploaded in PDF format only, right? Again, the scan document. If you think that you just write everything on pen and paper and post that, you just scan it and just create a Word document and just convert it to PDF, then it won't be get accepted. You will get the 0 marks. Copy case plagiarism is similar to the assignments. Like two students what we have the same project, right? Now one important thing which my students ask, that sir, like suppose if you choose some topic, right? You choose some topic, maybe taking an example like you can say you can say the share market forecasting, right? That the student also choose the same share market forecasting, right? Or maybe you just say the impact of mutual funds in finance market, that the student also choose the same topic. So yes, you can choose, and definitely there are not endless topics. There are some finite count of the topics on which you can just prepare the case study. So if both are choosing the same topic, then it's totally fine. But at the end of the day, the content should be different. If you say that you two have been doing the same thing and the content is exactly the same, then you will fall under the case of copy case, right? If I talk about the passing marks, so passing marks is similar to the other subject, 50%, like the 50 marks. So I think you can easily secure the good marks and pass the project. That's very easy, and just you need to devote much time. That's again the need of the hour, right? A student needs to make a payment of 750 bucks. There is no date of submitting the payment. The only thing is the link for uploading the project will enable only after the you made a payment of 750 bucks, right? So last date of submission of project is similar to the last date of submission of assignments. So in this cycle, if I talk about, it's 29th of May. So you need to submit the assignment prior to that, and definitely you need to make a payment prior to it, right? So once you make the payment, normally it will take 1 hour or 2 hour to just get the updated link where you just upload the project. But sometimes it will take a day or two. It depends on the server. So I would recommend to just make a payment a little bit early, weeks before, because when you start working on the project, you come to know, okay, you are going to submit the project in this cycle only. So just take a maybe a week's time or two to just upload the to just make a payment, so that you will upload it, because we don't know how the server reacts in the last moment, right? So just on a safer side, make a payment a weeks before, right? If I talk about the project from where to access, it's quite simple. Log into an MMS portal. On the left hand side, you will get an option of exams. On exams, I think last one or the last second option is the project submission. Click on that, you will get a screen where it will say the proceed for the payment. You just go and make a payment via Paytm, UPI, and there are other sources that banking, and make a payment of 750 bucks. Once done with the payment, you can upload via the same screen by clicking on the option of submit the project. Once done, the status will be changed from not submitted to the submitted, quite similar to the assignment stuff, right? So I think this is pretty much clear. Then we talk about the actual project evaluation criteria. So being if you're writing 60 70 pages, then there should be some criteria based on that your project will get evaluated, right? Starting there are 5 or 6 sections, and here it's fixed, you need to mention these sections in your project, right? It should be well bifurcated, right? The very first one is the title of the project. It should start with the project title, your name, and the student SAP ID, right? Uh, when we discuss about assignments, we clearly mentioned that you need not to, sorry, you can't upload any assignments with any of your personal details. Like in, you want to upload your name or your any contact number or anything in any of your assignment. That's not allowed by NMIMS, and in that case, it will be a violation of a certain criteria of NMIMS. So you will get 0 marks in that case. But if I talk about as a project, in project, yes, you need to mention your actual name and SAP ID, right? Don't think that you just give any dummy name or dummy ID, right? Make sure you're using the correct name and the correct SAP ID for just the project purpose, right? Then you need to select a title which clearly describes the project which you are doing, right? You can just use simple words like a study of, an analytical study of, competitive study of. You can use these kind of words which can easily be relatable. And don't use the general terms like the performance management, personal branding, and something like that. It should be clear, it should be concise, and it should give something like, okay, you have done something, so it should be clear enough, right? It should be some meaning, obviously some meaningful content, right? The next part comes is the acknowledgement, where you are thanking the people who has helped on your project. See, distance learning, obviously it's not possible that the actual faculties will be helping you, but yes, you can suggest someone if you get some guidance, maybe from your mentors, or maybe something from outside whom you have taken the help on, right? Then next part comes as the TOC, table of contents, where you just specify the list of topics which are being covered in the project along with the different page numbers, right? I would recommend to just create a table of contents using there is an option in the Word document where you can just create a table of contents, because once you just start working on your project now, you will needs to update the table of content multiple times. Sometimes you find you need to add one page, delete one page, blah blah blah. So it would recommend it, like if you do it manually, it will be very cumbersome and very hectic and very pathetic job. You will get bored. So I would recommend to use the automated way, where the table of contents will get automatically be updated once you make any changes in the Word document. The next part comes in the body of the document that we are going to discuss in the coming slides, that what needs to be written in the complete body part. Last but not the least comes the annexure. Annexure contains the certain graphs, certain charts, or anything else which you want to attach. Just to give an additional information about the project. That's not mandate, but yes, if you want to, surely you can just add it as a part of the annexure. Now we talk about the body. So body of the project is the most important stuff, where the actual content resides, and ideally it should be of 45 to 50 pages, right? That was the actual thing which I was talking at the initial of my of this on the initial slides when we were discussing about the number of pages to be referred, right? So firstly we need to talk about the objective, right? So the title should match with the objectives, right? There can be one or multiple objectives. Normally we see that we are having one or two objectives, right? If I talk about we are doing certain kind of trend analysis, or we can doing certain kind of research on maybe some stocks, or maybe some we are implementing something relates to the artificial intelligence, and we are having some existing process which we want to improvise it, so it fulfill one or two objectives, right? Objectives can be divided into the primary and the secondary as per the requirement. So normally it happens that primary objective is to just shorten the overall time, or to gain more accuracy, the minimize the risk, or to get more into the system. That is the primary. The secondary one are the other things which you can think of, that okay, along with this can also do these additional stuff, right? Those are the secondary objectives. Then next is be brief and a number of objectives. As I mentioned, that normally one or two is fine. Writing many objectives to impress and give a page good is unwarranted. Restrict yourself to those objectives for which you can achieve and get some information. Don't write ad hoc, guys. If you think that this is achievable and this is actually the crux of this project, then only write this as a part of objective. Don't write, okay, if the faculty reads only one or two pages and they find objective is very great, then they will just give you marks based on that. No, so make sure the objectives should match with the actual outcome and the results of the project. The next part comes as the scope of the project. Scope simply means the which are the key aspects which are being covered. There are certain things, because everything is not idle in this scenario. So there are some things which are out of the scope of this project. So you need to make sure that okay, these are the certain assumptions which you had done while working on this project. The next part comes is the executive summary. Executive summary is like a short thesis, right? It's simply a 2 or 3 pages of the everything which is being which talks about that project, right? It may cover the initial part, what was the background, what was your thought process, what was the scope, what you had covered, what were your findings, what you concluded, and what were your recommendation, assumption. Just crux of everything, just in 2 or 3 words, 3 pages maximum, right? Then next part comes as the methodology. Methodology is simply the method which you are using for doing the project, where you just do the sample selection, sample collection, data wrangling, data modeling, working on data, manipulating something, data cleaning, a number of things which you are doing. Then using the different tools. The methodology is again very important, one of the most important thing, right? So you need to think of the different libraries, websites which you are just considered. Again, the what are the hypotheses which you have done, which are you have done the testing. So you just need to give a complete detail of the methodology, right? It's not mandate that for every case you need to collect the data and something, but if you talk about some project, then it's important you that the project will speak based on the data. Data is simply the facts and figures, right? If you are not having any numbers in your hand, how can you just say that my thesis is good, or I just conclude something, right? So it's important you have some market research, some data in your hands, right? That's why it comes the next part. It's again a part of data methodology. Methodology and data collection and analysis, where you just collected the data. Maybe it's the primary data, or maybe the secondary data, or maybe it comes from the both the resources, right? So it should be relatable towards the objective which you think of, right? After that, you need to represent the data in an easy manner, which can be understandable. And definitely, as we know that the graph charts speak 1,000 words, so it's important to just draw the graphs and charts wherever it's applicable, and it's very important. And if I talk about the project, even in assignment, it should not be skipped, but it's possible. But in projects, it's very very important, right? Then you need to number all the tables, graphs, right? Start collecting the data as soon as possible, right? Then comes the actual findings. Based on the data, what you concluded is again the most important thing. You can just write your findings in a chronological order and give reference to the primary and the secondary data for each finding, right? Then next part comes as the suggestion or the recommendations, right? So uh, this will give you a view and opinion of the complete project, but with your suggestion you can give your personal views, personal opinions. Definitely it's not necessary that it should be always being justified, just but try to make it a little bit justified in reference to your actual outcomes, and definitely it should be logical, right? You can make recommendation to the different stakeholders, you can give your suggestions, and you can just ensure that the thing should be realistic and in a time bounded manner, right? Last but not the least covers the bibliography, where you just need to specify the list of books, magazines, journals, websites which you had referred, right? I think we have just covered the theoretical part. Now I just want to showcase you maybe one or two projects that would really be helpful to understand that okay, what the project is all about and how the things will look like. Right. This is the one project. Maybe I think you can easily find it. And that's the way how you just need to upload it. It's the PDF format, right? So at the top we are having this NMIMS logo. Then it's a project, a report on a detailed study of the sales and management and distribution of Amul Fresh products. Maybe here you need to write the name of you and along with the SAP ID at Amul Private Limited. You can just have some photo of this, right? So it's a report or detailed study of this, again given by this of which batch, right? Date of submission, the date on which you're submitting the assignments. That's not mandate. You can just give any random date as per your choice. Like if it's not like it's the last date of submission, if you are submitting it on 22nd or 23rd, and if you just write the date as 20th or 15th, then it's totally fine. Then you need to give your name and its authorization, where you're specifying that it's the original piece of work submitted to the for a PGTM program for NMIMS distance learning program. Here again you are giving your name. It should be your actual name, right? Here you are acknowledging, as we mentioned earlier, that you are just taking the help from someone like Mrs. Khardu Shahare, the mentor for your Amul Private Limited. Here he has mentioned that stuff. Then this is the complete TOC, the table of contents, where we are talking about abstract, executive summary, introductory part, then analysis, then the company overview. Then we are talking about the work done during the project, primary research, recommendations, learnings, conclusion, references, and annexures. Right. Let's quickly see those 64 pages, and after that I will show you one another case study. Right. So firstly we cover the abstract. Abstract is just a brief, then becomes the executive summary, and after that we talk about the different stuff. We are talking firstly about the industry. But the industry, it's a very generic thing that you can easily find, because when you just start writing any of the project, firstly you need to give an introduction, because the person who is actually evaluating your project is a layman person. You need to tell him, you need to make him understand, okay, this is the correct market, this is an overview of all the things which you had done, right? We talk about the project title, we need to describe objective of the project, scope of the project, what were the certain limitations. Then we talk about the industry overview. You just draw it and organize in an organized way. Again, it's the all theoretical stuff which you have covered. You just covered the Porter's model, which you had studied in the marketing management, and pastel analysis. This is again you had done, I think, in marketing. I'm not sure. Right, impact of COVID on the Indian dairy market, that they have covered. Then covers the company overview. Amul, firstly we talk about the dairy products. Now we come to the actual Amul company, because you are doing the thesis on Amul. So it's all about the Amul. It's going on. What's the business model of that? Definitely, you just visited some Amul company and you get an understanding the complete model which on which Amul works on, right? So this is all which you just add some snapshots. Then here it comes the sales turnover. You are just showcasing the overall impact. So you are just showing the sales turnover from that particular year. So if you just show it in a diagrammatical way, it's pretty much clear that okay, initial 2011 it was very low and it increases on year basis. Then we do the SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Then we talk about the competitors like the Parag milk product, Mother Dairy. Those are the competitors. Gokul. Then there are something local Dudwalas, Patanjali. Then we talk about the actual work we done in the project, right? Where you just visited certain retail stores, you get some data that we talk about the primary and secondary data. Then we just talk about the brand valuation. Then we just find certain posters. Then it comes the responsibilities doing the internship, work done from the during the pandemic time. And here it comes the primary research. In primary research, what the data was collected, what was the types of data, what were the different questionnaires. Then it comes the Primary research, you just make some interpretation out of this data, what was your analysis, your thoughts, and you are just giving your interpretation for each of the different ways. Like if we are talking splitting the data in terms of products, in terms of sales, in terms of locality, in terms of geography, and a number of things, right? So diagrammatically you are showcasing everything what were your thought process, and then you are interpreting its meanings, right? If we talk about move ahead, these are the so many things. Again, you are having so many figures. You just use a number of figures because this is the key part, right? What were your findings from the project? So based on your analysis, final analysis, you need to specify. Then the certain recommendations. That's the last part. Learning and the challenges faced. Then the conclusive part and the references from where you just take the data. And last but not the least, the annexure, or maybe you can just show some kind of you can say the questionnaire, in which you can just ask a couple of questions which are definitely relatable to your case study. So this is all we had covered in this one case study, right? Let's see another case study quickly. Don't get confused, right? This is the another case study which I had prepared maybe a couple of years back. I don't know when I had done. Yes, so this is the dissertation project, impact of digitization of mutual fund industry on based on the investor satisfaction level, where I just put my name and date of submission. And this was the declaration where I just mentioned, given a declaration. This was the table of contents which I just mentioned. Na? Okay, you just use table of contents as an automated way. So I just create a table of contents. So if you see, my content is different from the earlier one. So it's not mandated you should stick to that particular content, right? Like here, I just give a declaration TOC. I just use declaration TOC. I just use list of tables, list of figures additionally give an extra abstract. I talk about the financial system. I talk about the certain literature. I just talk about the research methodology. I just talk about the data analysis and interpretation. That's definitely the most important and the conclusive part, right? And lastly, I just talk about the references and questionnaires, right? So let's see, quickly see. I'm not taking lot many time, much time. So these are the certain tables which I prepared. So I just refer to the page numbers of the table. These are the figures which I just prepared and just give the name. This was the abstract, a key overview of this. The introductory part, what is IFS, Indian Financial System? I gave a brief. Okay, this is the, again I mentioned that the source from where I just take the image. I just classified the financial system. Then impact of technology. Again, I am relating IT with the finance, but mainstream is again the finance. Then we talk about the mutual fund industry, talk about the history of the mutual funds. Then we talk about the different phases, the current status, structure of the mutual funds in India. It's a very theoretical thing, right? Types of mutual funds, investor perception and satisfaction level towards the mutual funds. Again, this was taken from the Statista 2016. So I just specifically mentioned this thing, right? What were the factors affecting the investors in the mutual fund decisions? Then we talk about the economy change. Then we talk about digital disruption. We talk about the changes in the investors, growth of the mutual funds. Then I think digitization, the automation stuff. Then the review of the literature. Again, we talk about the financial system, financial sector. We talk about the different factors in decision making. We talk about the digitization, impact of digitization, then gaps in the existing stuff, then comes the actual research methodology, right? So here comes the actual stuff where you need to put your brains into. We talk about what was the statement, what were the objectives. Definitely, I just put again, I just mentioned two or three maximum. What was the research design? What was the instrument or tools which I had used? What was the sampling plan? What was the software which I just used? The sources of the data. Then, based on my analysis, what was the my you can say the data analysis and interpretation. So I just interpreted again. If you see in the previous one also, the I am having just some certain kind of figures and interpreted the data based on that. Right? You are just defining the certain factors. If I talk about a mutual fund, is the income group, age group, location, geography, personal perceptions, society, a number of things. So based on that, I just mentioned and interpreted each of the stuff, right? So based on the data which I had collected, I interpreted these things. Again, it's the interpretation, so it covers the major of your part, right? And make sure you are writing this is in a correct fashion. So these were the interpretation. It was a very lengthy one, right? What are different inferences which I had done? So inferences, I just do the t-test, I just do certain kind of hypothesis. Then here it comes a lot many things. There was the data and regression, and it reminds me of the decision science of the second SAM, where I just put dependent variables, independent variables, and the regression, correlation. I just mentioned each and everything as much as it's in my hand, right? So this I had done. Then it was the descriptive analysis. What were my final findings? I just mentioned it over there. Inferential analysis. What again was my inferences? Then last comes as the conclusory part, where I just mentioned about the conclusions, what were the key objectives, and then mention the key objectives. As you mentioned, I have just covered the three objectives, so I just gave these three objectives, and based on that, it was my assumption and finding. As if you talk about the presentation, also I just clearly stated that you have certain objectives, and based on those objectives, you draw your conclusions, right? So if you are having 10 objectives, it's almost impossible to write the concluding part for all those 10, right? What were the certain recommendations? What were the certain limitations for this? And last but not the least comes as the certain references from different sources and the different websites. And lastly is the annexure part, right? Again, it's not mandatory, but again, the similar one, the questionnaire, which if you see in the previous one, I had done the questionnaire part. So this is all which I had covered. So if you see, I had covered 68 pages, right? So that's why I just recommended that if it's more than around 65 pages, then it's fine. So it was 68 pages. But if you see, there's lot number charts, there are a lot of initial stuff. So if I exclude these stuff, that it will come around 50 pages. That's why I just mentioned that it should be more than 60-65 pages, then it will come to 50 pages as per NMIMS policy, right? So this is all about the project. I think I just tried my level best to cover up most of the stuff related to the project and show you two of the sample projects. One I think you can easily get, and second one was my personal experience. So hope that would be helpful, and you will get a fair understanding based on looking at these projects. So if you have any doubts or facing any issue related to project, feel free to just connect to me at ngasca.mba@gmail.com. And if you like this video, do like, do subscribe, and stay connected for further videos. Thank you so much.